It's live. We're live. Oh my god, everyone, join, join. Ooh, here they come. Oh,
Audio.
you should be able to hear the OS audio, but you won't be able to hear like other stuff. Also, you won't hear
Okay.
it now because the song was over. But yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Oh, I wonder how long it'll take people to start joining in. Dude, I need to eat dinner. I need to eat food after this so bad.
I ate a big breakfast. I was hungry for the match, and it definitely helped.
Yeah. Oh, I need to ping Sensa. Actually, I'm gonna ping Sensa now with the people that are wanting to play in the lobby.
Yeah. Will they be playing through all of the maps?
Just the Grand Finals tiebreaker. For everything else, we have replays.
Okay.
Okay. I forget everyone. I'll have to get their Osus also. Oh yeah, here comes everyone trickling in now. Who else wanted in? Fun Mac, that's who it was. Okay. Oh my god, everyone's joining. So, for people that are trickling in that maybe don't know, we're going to be doing, instead of a replay for Grand Finals Tiebreaker, we'll be doing a lobby with people that want to join. So, lobby will be up around 30 minutes from now. The maps will take about 30 minutes to go through ish. It's like just talking from now. So, like 17:30 UTC. If you were wanting to play in that, ping Sensa with your Osu username so he knows. Sensa's going to be the ref for it. If you want in, just go ahead and ping him. Lobby will be up in about 3 minutes, so seems like people are slowly trickling in. I'll wait a couple more, like 30-ish seconds to reveal the pool. So it's just me and Chu in on this. So Chu's actually a player for Grand Finals, so this is his first time seeing the maps. We'll kind of get like a first impression, I guess, from a player, and then I can help give a little bit more insight into these picks. So hopefully it's useful to you guys, players and non-players.
Hello.
Hello. So we'll go ahead and show the map pool here. So, just like last time, 4 Memo, 4 Hybrid, 2 Reading, and the Tiebreaker. So Memo, we got Martian Music, Mount Kwaku, Gun and Bass, Lattice. Hybrid, we got Athasa, Fryzura, Orca, Pump It. Reading, we got Embryo and Edison, and then the Tiebreaker is a collab on Zernitra. So, I'm sure a lot of players probably recognize some of this stuff, like Edison's pretty popular, Fryzura and Athasa are 40M charts. What else? Orca was used for BNL.
I recognize 4 of these charts. I know
Yeah.
Frizura was used in 40M. Athasa was also used in 40M.
Yeah.
Edison is memes, and Orca
Edison
is
is
Orca.
memes. Orca. Yeah. Yeah, Edison was kind of a tough pick for us to like get down because it's the thing that we decided on is that it's cheesable with scroll, but not cheesable to the point where you can like completely negate it. Because it's kind of a balance. So you will have to increase your scroll for it if you really want to like get a good score. But past that, I mean, you still have to read the scroll. So we kind of just landed on it. So hopefully my stream doesn't bug out here, but we'll start top left, go down. We'll finish on Edison before the tiebreaker lobby. So we'll just hop right into it with Martian music. Mapped by Hyper. It says Amelia Watson, but that is Hyper's alias. Try to
Yeah,
balance
I've
this
seen it once, and it's got some tough SVs.
This is, it's definitely a step up from finals in the memo aspect, but it's not physically challenging at all. These rhythms are just, like, cold intros, like, these are unbelievably difficult to get down. You'll definitely want to figure out some ghost tapping stuff.
Kind of like Sucker Sweets on steroids.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah, not as many notes to kind of buffer on, and it's very easy with these like little mini jacks or like anchor type things to just miss, like CB rush or rush to get a CB. So it can be really scary. Yeah, and some of these rhythms repeat, but a lot of them don't, or like repeat alternating, so it's just that much more added difficulty for the memorization. I'd say the first half is a lot harder than the second half, but it still stays fairly intense for the entire chart.
Yeah, it looks like something that I'll be spending a couple of hours trying to learn. Because of patterns. They're really, there's no repetition in the SVs, so it'll be difficult. I mean, there's repetition in the end. I'm talking about.
Yeah, I think it took me about 20 plays to get like a 5 miss score on this. I wouldn't say I learned quick, but yeah. Definitely 20-ish plays or more. So, starting pretty intense. I would say it's one of the harder ones in the pool to memorize. Hopping into a Danny chart, also played by Danny Mappool.
And you know if Danny has 4-200, that's going to be a spicy map.
Yeah, it's a memo pick, like, it's a Danny map, it's a Danny SV, so if he made it to, like, be able to be playable for himself, like, it's not that physical. But yeah, these stops are insane. And they, like, kind of hover around the middle, which is just, like, a little scary. Especially with these Ellen stops on, like, Score V2 can be pretty weird.
This looks pretty fun.
It's definitely really unique, because you can hear that, like, synthy, whatever thing in the background, kind of keeping that rhythm, but the chart isn't following that, it's following, you know, that drum and bass.
Are those grace notes?
Yep, they're very, very miniature grace notes.
Okay.
I'm not sure. I don't think it's, I think it's by like 1 millisecond. There's something with it later on the map that you'll see. But, yeah, they're very, very tiny grace notes that won't affect your accuracy, but it comes in, it's like a mechanic later in the map.
I see.
Yeah, these schlongs definitely, it's like almost mines. You have to like immediately let go on the really tiny ones.
For sure.
Yeah, these rhythms are pretty brutal.
Are these just straight snap to halves?
I believe so, yeah. Yeah, it's just chord jack, like, ghost tapping definitely is going to help a lot, and I believe the 8th notes are all on either 1/4 or 1/8.
Well, I get those are fourths, but
yeah.
meh.
Yeah. Yeah, it's something you have to like kind of internally count. So like different than Martian music where it's you really have to memorize the rhythm. This one kind of stays consistent on that like eighth note beat, except for there's a couple like pickups with like 16th notes with the little schlongs. So this is definitely like internal rhythm. Ghost tapping, you're gonna have to keep consistent on this to be able to ratio it, but it's definitely something that's hackable. Just this is honestly I think is more training intensive than Martian music. I think this might take a little bit longer to really get down.
Also, I did not see where the grace notes came in later in the map.
Yeah, it was with the LN, so I don't know if Danny went for like specifically to make it weird, but some of the schlongs like the grace notes kind of indicate what the next note will be. It's something you won't get unless you like look at the editor, but it's supposed to like indicate what the next notes are gonna be, I guess.
I see.
I don't know. It's probably not really useful for players. I didn't find it useful, but it's there, I guess. SV mappers like to add like little hidden things that players don't really notice sometimes.
That's cool.
Yep. That's where the mapper's advantage comes into play, but only like I don't really tend to do that. I know Danny adds like Easter eggs, kind of. So this map, gun and base, a lot of no SV stuff to build up ratio, and a lot of just 0 BPM stops that will demolish you. So long sections like this, where it's basically no SV, just build up your combo until it gets into jump scares, pretty much.
So far, this looks pretty standard. I mean, it's really brutal for sure.
Yeah.
But I guess it's like more standard than like not block.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say definitely make sure you have a skin that doesn't like block your receptors with the notes, because this is just like 0 BPM stopping right on the receptor. So I know my skin, I honestly have to use a different skin for SV like this because my notes kind of are unseeable with like 0 BPM stops. But yeah, I really like this map. I think it looks really clean. Yeah, stuff like that, little offsets on the notes that you have to read. And this map looks really clean. I like it with the gun sounds. I think the 0 BPM works really well. Sus notes. Give it all you got. The sus.
Yeah, that's gonna be fun to learn.
There's a couple things like that. The hover notes or whatever they're called, just staying at your receptor, and you just kind of have to ghost tap it on the rhythm. A lot of these like really hard memo maps love to do that, just because it kind of adds another element past just like memorizing it. You also have to make sure you have that internal metronome. Alright, so this is the last memo pick. It's Lattice, but not applicable. This is one of the longest memo. I think this is the longest memo pick actually we've had. Fucking in about 330, 320. This map's very long. I'd say it's not as like dense as the other ones, but it's definitely a drawn out memo. It'll force you to really focus for the entire duration of it. If Danny was in Grand Finals, this would be probably his favorite map to pick, because long memorization is kind of like right up his alley, especially when it's not physically hard.
Yeah, you know, like, these snaps, they're okay, I guess.
It's really confusing. So sometimes it's the 1/6, sometimes it's the 1/4, and he made the SV to where you can't tell the difference.
Okay, okay.
So that's why it's like pretty weird.
I thought all those were just 1/6.
Yeah, a lot of them are, but then the 1/6 look the same as the 1/4. Like right there, that was a 1/6, but then he slows it down with these 1/4 to make it look similar. It's something that, like, you know, a seasoned SV player won't really get tripped up by, because you know where the 1/6 falls, because it repeats itself. So where the 1/6 is repeats itself over and over again, so you'll catch on after a play or two.
Yeah, all these LMs might be a little hard to transition in and out of.
Yeah.
I guess this is more memorization heavy than anything.
Yeah, I would say this is kind of dabbling into hybrid a little bit. It's like a lot of it's rateable and it repeats, obviously. Like this map is just really repetitive with little differences just hidden in there. But it definitely toes the line on just being super long and hard to keep your focus.
I guess I will say that, like, the grand finals pools have very little filler. I mean, like, last week we had Stuck Weeks in Omega.
Yeah.
Those had a lot of non-SV cards.
Yeah, I think the only map that has a ton of SV or non-SV is, like, I know Embryo later on you'll see has a decent amount of no SV, and then Gun and Base has that little build-up section that's basically no SV. So there's some stuff that'll let you build up combo, but definitely a lot of these are really dense. I think a lot of the difficulty of Lattice comes from it being so long and so repetitive. And there's just barely any differences, like this part, with this ending part is different than the previous stuff. So it's hard to stay focused throughout the whole map and remember, like, oh, coming up is, you know, this like streamy section.
It's kind of, I guess it's kind of similar to Cubic Squeal in that sense, if you've played that map.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's long, and there's a few gimmicks that repeat throughout the map, and it's the length that kind of annoys you because you have to stay consistent.
Yeah, this map feels a lot longer than it actually is, too. I mean, it's only about 330. It's shorter than some, like, of the endgame MWC charts, but definitely longer than anything we've really seen in the pool so far, for Memo at least. So hopping into, this is our first hybrid. It's going to be a 40M chart. It was from 40M3. This is the first and only Boss Mad Wolf chart that we've used in this tournament. Probably one of the only maps I actually enjoy.
I actually learned this yesterday just for the fun of it, because it was in 40M. I didn't expect this to be in the pool, by the way.
Yeah, it's I really like it in a tournament setting. I think the song is mostly what lends itself to being a tourney like viable pick. Not necessarily like the actual chart. Because we all know Boss Mad Wolf. But I enjoy the chart. I liked it in 40M and I like it now, so. Leaf definitely makes some interesting bangers.
This isn't too bad for a Boss Mappool chart.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything too egregious. It's just pretty intense. I think the SV plus the patterns is what kind of makes it more challenging. Artcat saying, fun fact, this is the only good Boss Mad Wolf chart. Not that I disagree, but yeah, I do really like this shirt. That slowdown with the BPM is so brutal. Because you're just expecting an SV slowdown, not like the actual BPM to slow down. That always gets me.
Exceptions. There are a couple of gimmicks in this second half that I actually had to memorize.
Yeah. As Arcat played this in 40M, so he grinded this out pretty hard and still, like, you know, hovered around 960, so it's a little bit of an indicator, I guess, of how hard this could be to act. Yeah, that middle section was just hard patterning. Like, the SV wasn't even that challenging. There's a couple, like, I know Eagle Seeker was like that. This kind of falls in that. Embryo a little bit falls in just, like, hard patterning.
Yeah, it's the combination of being in SVs.
Yeah. And I mean, looking at the players that made it to Grand Finals, we felt confident as, like, pullers that pretty much anything we threw at the players wouldn't be too physically challenging. So, I mean, this is about as physically challenging as the pool gets. And it shouldn't be too hard.
It's definitely less physically challenging than Eagle Seeker.
Yeah, Eagle Seeker, I think, is just the hardest physical map that we will have in the pool, other than the tiebreaker.
Oh, the tiebreaker.
Oh, the tiebreaker. And here we go, another 40M map. So, Athasa was Grand Finals SV, and this was the other Grand Finals SV. So fancy that. This is kind of the other side of the same coin of Athasa. This is more chill. I think it takes a lot of patience. This is more the memo side of hybrid than Athasa being more the reading side.
This is just straight up memory, honestly.
Yeah. It does align because I think a lot of the stutters are readable, but then the rhythms get really jank.
These rhythms are really jank, by the way. I looked at this in the editor, and it's, like, horrible.
It's rough. This map's really pretty, though. I love what they did with the SVs. I think it fits the music so well.
Yeah, because you have the 16th there.
That's rough.
It's funny.
Yeah, these syncopations are brutal. Something that got me with learning this a lot of the time is you see, like, the notes coming down, and they just look in a pattern that you just don't think is gonna be, like, how the music is, but then, like, the syncopation, the weird, like, tuplet stuff, just makes it, like, hard without the SV. It kind of, like, freaks you out because you think there's gonna be SV, but there isn't.
Yeah, there's a ton of fake outs in this song.
Oh yeah, that part. Ugh. Yeah, Igor definitely known for making weird songs like this. I think lends really well to chart like this.
I like that sample that randomly just comes up. It's so funny. Gets me every time.
That's awesome.
Some of these look really easy to rush.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of it is, they go into triplets and then into 16th notes, but the SV makes it slow down so it looks just like a completely different rhythm, and it's something that is nearly impossible for me to get down, but I'm sure for the players that are playing, it'll come eventually with plays. Hopping into the next hybrid here. We got Orca by Orca. Basically, half of the players predicted that this was going to be the pool, so
I thought this would be in finals, but maybe I'm underestimating the difficulty.
It's so I wouldn't say it's hard to memorize compared to the other maps that are in this pool. I'd say it's definitely, if it was in finals, it would have been one of the harder ones to memorize. But in this pool, it's not. But I would say to act this and get a good score is definitely grand finals level.
That's fair. This kind of reminds me of Bagel Secret because you have to quasi-memorize the bursts.
Yeah, because I do a lot of that stuff where, you know, on a hand after a big sound, just teleport right into like the bursts, and that's what'll make it hard to hack, as well as a lot of these like sine wave stuff. And this is one of the shorter maps as well. I think this is only a little over 2 minutes, but it has a decent note count. So there's definitely a lot of faster, streamy sections. Yeah. I think this will probably be a comfort pick for a couple players, because it will be one that you pick up on pretty quickly, but it'll be all about that consistency battle.
Yeah.
You can't combo drop on this. Especially coming to the end here, I think the difficulty definitely ramps up towards the end, so... Yeah, Jakad's, someone in your match did. Or no, it was in your match, I believe. I think this was played twice as a warm-up. Actually. Wasn't it?
I'm not sure, but I just remember Polly playing it, and I also use this in a warm-up for a different tournament.
Yeah, maybe that's what I'm thinking of. Yep. Funny ending, Ellen. Always gotta end it on that tough V2, Ellen, you know. So, hopefully, that'll definitely be one of the easier ones that the players will catch on to pretty quick, but it all comes down to that consistency battle, you know. GA and PA will definitely determine who takes that. Here we got our last hybrid here. It's going to be Pump It by Mint. I think this is also the first and only Mint map that we have in the
Mint
pool.
map, let's go.
Mint map, woo!
Mint map, Mint tournament, Mint map.
Mint map in the tournament. Yep, this is super stuttery. So if you are not good at reading stutters, then good luck. I think this song's just such a bop, though.
Ooh.
Fun.
That's so fun.
Ignore your eyes.
Yes.
This is so easy to just forget about. Even though it's like obvious, but man, it's tough.
I'm gonna have a blast practicing that.
Yeah. Yeah, once you have it down, it's honestly really fun. But like, especially that one where it's like the anchor, like the jack actually. I literally I just zoned out basically. It's so easy to zone out on. Yeah. I wouldn't say the calm part is the hardest part. I'd say this is probably the hardest part. Well, the last of the teleports.
It's definitely less hard than Able Seeker. Because it's strictly less fast, it's strictly slower.
Yeah, physically this is not a challenge. But SV wise, man. These are really it's really fidgety. So you kind of just have to get used to reading that super fidgety SV.
Maybe it's most similar to the SV in the neutral of Unforgive.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I would say it is most similar to the SV in that, just a little bit toned down. Well, I think it's toned up, but it's not as dense. So you get a little bit of a breather, but it'll definitely take a trained eye, I guess, to be able to read those. And a lot of those, like, big teleports, like the really, really big ones, you kind of just have to, like, either try to quad it and risk rushing the L or the LN that's on the next note, or just kind of memorizing it. So it'll kind of come up to whatever the players want to do on it. Alright, hopping into our first reading pick, it's going to be Embryo. Second, Silly P. So, this map is... I warned at the beginning of the showcase, I believe, that this map has a lot of no SV, followed by just, like, really brutal SV, like with the teleport. I think this is one of the more physically hard ones, just because, like, single stream stuff. But it gives you a lot of room to breathe. I think there's a couple of maps in here that definitely gives you time to build up that combo, but then kind of drops you straight into the fire. Yep. So these SVs don't look that bad, but they're a lot harder than they look like. Just because where the stutters lie, it's really hard to keep that consistent. The teleports are really minor, but they make it seem like it's a different rhythm than it actually is a lot of the time.
This kind of looks like it's a mental kick. That's kind of
pretty much. The thing with the rhythms is that they're not that hard, and they'll like lie on the quarter note. So I would say if it was a sight read tournament, this would definitely not be considered like reading or whatever. But after a play, it all lies down to like the reading aspect of it. So I think you'll have it memorized within like 2 or 3 plays. And with grand finals, I mean, it's hard to find reading picks. So I would definitely not say this is a pure reading pick.
Yeah, I mean, I guess like the concept of reading kind of goes against SVs as the SVs get harder.
Yeah. I think Edison is probably the only thing that can actually like be considered reading at like the highest level. But I think in turn it kind of lends itself to being a more boring map. Like I really like this map. I think, you know, the creative freedoms that it takes is really awesome. I loved playing it. Definitely one of the more challenging ones in the pool as well. So hopping into, like we said, Edison. This will be divisive for the players. Me, personally, I don't really like playing it. I know a lot of people also don't like playing it, but then there's kind of a small section of people that enjoy it for what it is. So
I might just ban this map just because it's because it's Edison, but I got the
basically
in many ways.
Yeah, it's definitely, I have mixed feelings about it. I know a lot of players do too. I think I'm actually gonna check what he plays this on. So Patoos is playing this on 34 scroll speed. I'd recommend about 34 to 35, or about, I would say 10 to 12 higher than what you typically play on. Otherwise, it kind of just becomes unreadable. But even with like the raised scroll speed, like obviously you can see these slowdowns are still brutal, and it becomes more fast jam, you know, than slow jam at that point. So it just depends on what you want to read. Yeah. Yeah, so the set's by Kunu, but this diff specifically is actually by Tante B, who was a player in this tournament. So shoutouts to them. Yep. I think this is probably the only map in this pool that you would want to even change scroll speed for. I think all the other maps are pretty consistent and kind of live both ways. Yeah.
You either have to suffer through slow jam or fast jam or a little bit of both.
Yeah. Yeah, finding a good middle ground is really important. And the stream is slow enough to where it like becomes so easy to just combo break and then just miss like 20 notes in a row. Or at least in my experience, like it's super easy to just rush like so many notes in a row that you just lose like 2% or more back.
Yeah, this is really brutal.
Yeah.
For the speed changes.
Let me tell you something.
Kind of like Vertex on steroids.
Oh wait, tournaments in chat now. Yeah, Edison Grand Finals! Yay! Everyone loves this map, right? Yeah, Patus actually didn't play this on Scurvy too. I guess it's fine. I mean, this map isn't really that much harder on Scurvy 2, in my opinion. Like, I mean, the Ellens aren't challenging, so.
Yeah, I guess it, yeah.
It doesn't make much of a difference in my opinion. Alright. So those were the normal maps. I'm gonna ping Sense to see what's going on. And then try to hop in the lobby. So if anyone wants to get in that lobby, we'll start setting up now. I'm gonna close out of my normal OSU. And then you should be able to see this. It might take a bit for everyone to get ready, so go get a drink or whatever you want to do while we get this all set up. Yep, we are using Pump It Mint. I think you might have missed it for a hybrid pick.
Yes, our tiebreaker is Chiptune and Baroque by Chris.
Okay. Chiptune and Broke. Let's go!